Hello, fam. We are back live from the holidays. Get Restream, where we talk about how we connect to ourselves, source, and others. How's it going, Summer?
I'm comfy in my little corner.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we
How are
got
you?
these nooks. Getting over actually a cold or something. I got it
Yep.
Monday night. Seemed like at the gym, and I've been kind of going through the roller coaster of this thing. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow I'll feel a lot better. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the plan. But yeah,
What are
if you
we
haven't
talking
already,
about today? I'm so excited. What?
yeah. Yeah, today, yeah, we're gonna talk about something here. Though I just want to remind our audience, if you haven't already, follow us on YouTube at Get Resourced. You can watch us live on there as well as on Facebook. And before we open it up, yeah, I just want to check in. I know we did a little "How are you" type of thing, but what's alive in you right now?
A few things. I'm always excited to be here and share perspectives and stuff. So that's alive in me. If I dig a little deeper in the background, there's some concerns around my dad and my family and their health and stuff like that. So that's sort of simmering underneath it. Um, I feel like I have lots of energy this morning, and I'm comfy in my little nook corner with my pillows. I'm just
Mm.
ready to chatter up. Hey, Tracy!
Hey, Gracie.
Excited you're
Hey,
here.
Chris.
Your 2 week break.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yay! Good to hear about what's been going on for you guys over the last while.
Yeah, how's the holidays been for you both? Tracy, hey Chris, great to see you here.
Yeah, the holidays are interesting. They can either be very relaxing people or cause a lot of crisis and triggers to go on. So that's a bit about what we're going to go into. But first, Dre,
Mm.
what's alive in you?
What's alive in me is how would you say like a quality of slowing down? Like, one thing with this battling this cold, it's really kind of forced me to slow things down, or actually it's actually put my saboteurs at bay a lot more effectively because I have no energy to get annoyed or irritated over the smallest little thing. It's created more patience for myself. It's it's the benefit, eh? The benefit of being,
The benefit of being sick. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. Oh, Chris, thank you, man. Chris is saying he's gone through with withdrawal without us. Yeah. And Chris
Well, when you
saying,
guys are ready, we'll have you on live. Come on with us. That'll be fun.
mm, 7 days of triggers, processing and moving through and healing deeper.
This is 12 days of triggers of Christmas.
Yeah.
We have that.
That's what that's what the holidays kind of sometimes brings, eh? Yeah, when we, get together with family or rush to to do things, lots of things during the holidays. For some people, it's like super relaxing, and for some people, it's super busy. Though the topic we want to talk about today kind of next with that. And the topic we want to talk about is crisis. So I want to ask you, Summer, what is crisis? What
What
does
is
crisis
it?
mean to you? Yeah, what is it?
Oh, well, my favorite um, way of describing that quickly comes from the Chinese word, which has two characters in Chinese. We can't show it here, but it can it breaks it down into two words, which is danger and opportunity. And I think a lot of people in our culture think of crisis as a horrid, dramatic thing. Our culture tends to focus on the negative, the fearful side, the danger side, rather than the opportunity side, which takes a little bit of courage and gumption. And I think our culture also lacks maybe some of the inner technology that allows us to really transform what we perceive as danger into that opportunity that it really is. I get so excited when
Mm,
people might seem to be losing their mind or feel lost because I know what's around the corner. It's a very exciting transformational time. Is my
Right.
summary of that.
It is juicy, isn't it? Because it just seems like, the people that are in crisis are ready for change. It's kind of like
Mhm.
that wake up call.
Yeah, the wake up call, as Joseph calls it,
Mm,
Joseph Campbell calls it, the hero's journey, which is a great
mm.
movie, actually. Uh, what's it called? Finding Joe.
Finding Joe. Check it out if you haven't. It's on YouTube. Great movie on really Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey and how that can relate to our own personal lives. Because we're all heroes and heroines in our own journey right now. And the holidays kind of sometimes serve as that catalyst, right? Or the new year, 2025. Oh, what's going to be different now? Hey, being called into that. Thanks
Hmm.
for sharing.
Ah, what's great. What's Tracy
Yeah.
saying?
So both crisis and triggers during the holidays was quiet, almost too quiet. Yeah. Next year, make some time, do some traditions. Yeah. Rush to do nothing. Yeah. Yeah. For me, crisis, what crisis means to me is a wake up call. Um, for me, my crisis was back in 2016 in the form of a job loss. I was a software developer manager for 12 years and boom, job's gone. And also during the same time, my 7 year relationship, my first long term relationship ended as well. And both, I say, I call it actually, I was super stoked when I got let go. And actually in the relationship as well, because I saw it as a get out of jail free card. I was like, I'm free because I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the courage to quit. I was comfortable. I had the golden handcuffs, right? Good paying salary, benefits, got the corner office. I was comfortable.
The
And I thought
corner
this was the life
office?
of, yeah, corner window office and everything. I made it a mission to upgrade from a cubicle to a corner cubicle to an office to a corner office. And I did it. I climbed the corporate ladder. Um,
Sorry. Hilarious.
I was something to look
I've
forward to,
never
right?
heard that before.
Yeah, yeah. So I was actually excited because I was so unhappy in that job. I was so depressed. I didn't know
Even
what
though
it
you
was.
had the window corner office, you were miserable.
Yeah. The thing is, I thought in my mind it would make me happy, but once I got it, it didn't. You just have to go through the experience to know, right? Yeah. And it was so easy to go down the trap of like, go to school, get a job, be in a relationship, get a mortgage, have kids, and get married, right? And so, in a way, I kind of dodged a bullet, in a way. So, because I wasn't conscious of my decision. So that's why I call it a get out of jail free card. I'm very thankful for that crisis I had back in 2016. Yeah. Uh, Chris is saying, crisis is something I'm very comfortable. Oh,
Oh.
in the past, I
Oh.
would even create out of boredom.
Mm.
Juicy power for time for change and forced shifts. So, yeah,
I
tell
wonder
me
if there's a
more.
difference, though, a difference between a crisis and drama. Ugh. Um,
Mm,
just
yeah,
having.
I'd say so.
Mm.
Because drama for me, and I'd love to hear your take on this, is just like a conflict. It could be unnecessary conflict that could go round and round and round and round and not come to a resolution. A crisis is kind of like like a two by four hitting me across the head and like waking me up. That like I'm sick and tired of this. I don't want to live the same drama story over and over again. Is this soap opera, right? Or Groundhog's Day? The same thing keeps happening. So a crisis is kind of like that, um, hitting that wall, and something's got to change within me. Yeah. What do you think?
Some
Is there
more
a
like,
difference between drama and crisis?
ah, hmm. I mean, I think in crisis there can be drama, and I think drama maybe is when our survival mechanisms, our saboteurs take over, And it's that cycle of repeating triggered patterns without maybe the insight, the skills, the tools to create the opportunity that it is. So what then gets us out of cycles and patterns then, I guess, is where that goes.
Yeah. Well, I want to make a comment on because we're on IG live as well, and
Yeah, some
there's a few
people.
people. Yeah. Remember your wow says, I lost my career of 12 years in 2020 and my marriage of 7 years at the same time. I was also very comfortable that it fell apart, but I knew it was happening for me, not to me. I'm also very grateful for my crisis. So yeah, so in the moment, it
So who
freaking
was that? Who said
sucks.
that? Who said that? Sorry, on Instagram.
This is remember your wild on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Sounds like a
Though
similar
when we
story.
look back, yeah, it's similar story to mine, in a way.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's when we look back, we see the gist of it, right? One door closes, another one opens. So in the moment, it truly stinks. So when we can look at the many crises that I go through, that other people go through, we can be like, wow, this is happening to me, for me, right? For me. There'd be so much that can be gleaned from it, right? The hero's journey. Hmm.
Yep.
And what would you say, like, the types of journeys that you lead your ladies on? Because it seems like the people that are attracted to your work, Summer, are the people that are in crises or that are ready for it, that really take it in. I'd love to hear more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, there's a real tension that happens when people are going through crisis. It's like, okay, do I want to move forward into the unknown? Because it really is to go to something new, elicits this sense of fear of the unknown because we don't know where we're going. And therefore, sometimes it's easier to go back to what's comfortable, like your corner office with if they hadn't kicked you out. And sometimes other people make the decision for us. So, how is it that we can start making those decisions for ourselves to walk through what I would call the door of confusion or the door of courage, that danger opportunity sort of dichotomy? How do we start to know that on the other side of that door is an entirely new life, an entirely new set of opportunities, an evolution of who we are? Um, and I think that's why with my ladies in the Soul Truth Academy and the Empowered Empath Academy, like it's so much more valuable to do it in a community that understands those principles and starts developing their inner technology. Because I think what stops us a lot of the time is that we search for the answers outside of ourselves. One coach says this: we search for answers from doctors and other things that can be useful, but the really with the information age as big as it is, it can be so overwhelming to go anywhere and well, what's actually right for me? And without that inner technology, that what I would call your inner resonant truth or your direct felt experience, and that yes that we feel in our body, that sometimes people go get muscle tested in our body conduit, our body knows what's life-giving to it. But I think we've been so misdirected in our lives to, oh, I'll get the job, I'll get married, like you said, that's what we're supposed to do, um, without this inner directive piece, that it's even more scary than what we know. I mean, in old cultures, they used to have initiations. They would send their teenagers out into the forest, into danger, because they knew it was the opportunity for this person to embody their authentic self, to get named into what I would call in our culture is our right livelihood. How do we be of service to others, to our tribe, to the people around us in the way that most serves us, but reciprocally serves everybody else? Um, and so I get so excited because it's really also the birth of, well, healers, but also the earth in general. As people stop being slaves to the mental and emotional patterns we've inherited from our and passed down from generation to generation from the industrial age. Now it's the information age. We were treated like cogs in a wheel, as if we have broken parts in the medical system. And now there's the information age. So not only are we expected to be machines, we're expected to have this information. And now there's the AI, which is great. Sometimes we use it. But we have an even more advanced technology, our inner technology. I truly believe we are the most bio-advanced technology there is on the planet. Greg Braden talks about that, about the antenna that we have to source. And this goes back to our relationships. I think crisis has to do with our really distorted relationships that we have with self, source, and others, what we perceive to be reality, and how we are in relationship to that reality. Often, and Chris, I'd be interested in your perception of this. When I was doing my master's degree, because I worked with chaplains and nurses and all those types of spiritual counselors and things like that, a lot of the times people believe, oh, I'm sick. Why is this happening to me? It must be a punishment. It must be something that I've done wrong. It's karma. It's whatever. And highest form of oh, love that. Okay, thanks, Chris. So what relationship do we have? And like the person on Instagram said, I know this is happening for me, not to me, but still people have this trepidation of going through that doorway to experience the opportunity. So observing others who can transform a negative emotion, a trigger, a physical symptom, physical pain in an instant, and observing that allows us to almost absorb the knowledge. Rather than it becoming head knowledge, it becomes this embodied, which means in the body, knowledge, simply by observing someone else, because it awakens in this remembering. Remember means to put back together again of who I really believe we are. We're going from the industrial age, the information age, back to a spiritual age. I call it the spiritual age of energetic mastery, where we know our body is this innate inner technology and how to use it.
Mm. Mm. I love how you mentioned about like, crisis being the initiation. That's what stuck with me.
Mm,
Is it's like a call forward into something greater for me to live in accordance to my truth, my purpose, in alignment with who I am. It's as if like the universe, source, God is calling me to something greater with my life. Right? I can see that as a gift. And I love that what everybody shares, Chris, you shared, remember your wild. Looking back, it's like that crisis was a gift of like becoming a stepping stone to where I am now, even with my job loss and losing that relationship. Um, and so my question is like, can someone like do the things to avoid a crisis, or a crisis is going to happen anyways? Like, is there ways for people to take those initiations, those steps, without having to wait for a wake up call, or is it just designed for people that are comfortable, the golden handcuffs, to kind of wait for that crisis to happen or for things to change? What do you think?
mm. You can wait if you want.
Yeah.
It's more painful. It's like you said, that two by four. Um, but we don't have to, because we can start to fine tune our instruments, our body conduits. Um, and I can't remember, did we talk about that? Uh, our soul. A lot of people think of the soul, because I think that's really our inner guidance mechanism is our soul. And a lot of people think of it as this flaky, whatever concept somewhere else. But DNA, and I do have a post on Facebook about that. DNA, the root word is deoxyribonucleic acid. Oh, and Chris, yeah, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Limpton, yes, yes, taking 100% responsibility for our experiences, the perspectives as spiritual beings here having a human experience. Yes, this changes everything. Exactly. Um, and I think in regard to that, Chris, thank you so much for that. Um, we do think of the soul as this thing outside of us, this fluffy thing. And science has led us to believe that DNA is this physical thing. And it is, and it changes. Our genes are transformed, our DNA is transformed. But what deoxyribonucleic acid actually means, deoxyribo, rabbi, it's from the Semitic languages, it means God, Lord and Master. And then nucleic acid means fire at the center of our soul, or center of our being, sorry. And the fire at the center of our being is our soul, which means that it's actually in our body. This is in our body. It is the directive mechanism directly connected to God. Ah, cool. Chris is amazing at walking me through my triggers before it becomes a crisis. Ah, mind you, sometimes I luck up so bad that crisis is a must. Sometimes I feel like I need to go through the worst aspect to learn. True. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are learning that. I truly believe that couples can become healing conduits to each other. And yeah, sometimes we need to feel the opposite of what we want. And this is where you can actually, in your body, explore that. So through Inside Out, we consciously go in to the felt experience, to the energy, and it's open to play in so many things. And so one of the things that we can do is exaggerate it in our being without having it forced upon us, but we can open ourselves up to the experience of exaggerating the energy of, here's a couple of ideas for you, Tracy, doing the exact opposite. So often we want to fix something or help us or get through it. But what we really want to do in crisis is fully experience ourselves, experience the energy so that it can give us answers. And so as energy, for example, physical pain or the emotions that are running amok, as we breathe into them, we can actually ask them to become another form of energy, such as an image. And so sometimes, as Dre has been triggered as well, Tracy, he allows me, and we did a live in one part of that, and he's so gifted it because he does his own men's work, to just drop right in and observe and play with it. We get this opportunity to go, okay, here's our opportunity rather than the danger. How do I accept, honor, and trust? Breathe and notice what's going on. And God, mRNA, the DNA is the soul, but mRNA, the little m stands for messenger. So we get these messages because our soul, God, speaks energetically through our body through sound, memory, sensations, body sensations, illnesses, and the metaphor, the mirror of what that is to us and what we need to learn to be more in alignment with source energy. It's about learning to speak that language. And so going back to your comment there, you can exaggerate it for yourself. What does that energy feel like? What does it mean to me? And as you allow the exaggeration, or you play with it, or you do the exact opposite of what you think you should do. I'll give you one example. I had a lady whose mom had died. Oh no, she was dying and her dad died instead. She had no job, had no relationship. So her life was this big open gaping hole or this empty space for opportunity. And she came to this cliff in her mind's eye as she embodied her experience and asked this energy, her grief, to become an image. It was the Grand Canyon. So you can imagine in your own mind the Grand Canyon, this big hole, and how do you move forward in life with this gigantic canyon set out before you? And so as I sat there with her, observing, and this is where sometimes healers or people want to fix things for others. Oh man, maybe there's a walkway there, or you can walk across it, or something. But I literally just sat in my mind's eye as this open conduit piece and allowed her to experience what it was to stand there with no place to go. And some of the things that you can play in these moments is like, oh, what's it feel like to go back, to turn around? She tried it. She was like, nope, no way am I doing that. Is there anything else around this canyon, a stick or anything? Nope. Oh, all right. So then she just gets to experience what it's like to be stuck at the edge of a canyon. And I get to sit there with her to experience that. There's some hopelessness in there. There's nowhere to go. There's this drop to the freaking ground. I don't know how many feet high up the Grand Canyon is. And in our mind's eye, in our logical mind's eye, there's nothing that could happen. But this is where our inner technology is so smart. It will grant us, like a movie, the answers to our question. And if you guys have ever watched, oh man, what's that Disney movie where the dad dies, the two brothers, and they walk across the canyon? It's reminding me of that.
Onwards.
What's that?
Onwards.
Onwards. Yeah, actually, it's almost identical in a way if you watch that movie, Onwards. But this woman in her mind's eye, and this is where myths and stories become real for us, is as she stood there at the canyon and I was waiting for the moment that she had her answer, she all of a sudden took this breath I call an integration breath. She was like, and I was like, ooh. And what happened for her in that moment, and this is where guided meditation and given imagery can never give you that sense. Her dad's hand appeared out to her from the other side of the canyon. And I will always tear up because I remember the feeling of that at that time. It was beckoning her forward across this gigantic freaking canyon. And she followed it. So she just took a step into space. And this sounds so cliche, but literally clouds came up underneath her feet to walk her across to the other side. And that feeling of faith that allows us to move forward, even though we feel paralyzed, and that trust, eminent trust in something that we can't see. And there's another saying that both fear and faith require that we believe in something we can't see, and it becomes our choice then. And this is where the practice comes in to keep choosing the faith over fear. So I don't know if that helped answer your question a little bit, but we can go inside ourselves and really play with those exaggerated energies rather than having sometimes the outside crisis force us inward. We can deliberately go inside and develop our inner technology. Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, what I'm hearing is those triggers that do happen. It's an opportunity for me to process these triggers so I can gain insight That way, then I show up differently in my life, and I don't need to wait for a major crisis to happen to wake me up from my slumber, from my own unconscious patterns that keep me stuck in these loops, these drama loops, these conflict loops, or pattern loops, so to speak, right? Um, it's becoming aware of my inner technology, becoming aware of my triggers, what is triggering me, and then exploring that. And I can do that within